Dragon Ball Fighterz will soon be upon us. With a roster of 24 revealed characters and 8 DLC on the way. People have been going nuts over who these 8 characters could be. There was a list leaked on a subreddit by LeakyLeaks, and there is some things on his list that were correct with games like Street Fighter V or Marvel vs. Capcom. I'll put in the description, and that's great, but who cares? I'm not here to list off these characters like dozens of other videos. I'm going to tell you who should be in this game based on mechanics, characteristics, and team synergy. Videl. We have 2 girls in this game. Now granted, DBZ has a very tiny pool of female characters, most of which are incredibly important supporting characters, so Videl is a perfect character for the game. She can fight, fly, and generally has the ability to stand her own in this title. Gameplay-wise, Videl could be similar to how Dan is in Street Fighter. Comical movement and hacks, but can still fight off the obviously stronger characters. These type of characters are always fun because you can style on your opponent with a typically inferior character. She would fit right into a team with Gohan, so keep an eye out for her. Cooler. Who could be even stronger than Frieza? Cooler. He has several cool looking attacks that would translate great into DBZ Fighterz. Considering he's the older, stronger brother, it would only be natural to make him fill the role Frieza lacked. Frieza's a range projectile based character, so Cooler could be more physical attack oriented. He could have special grabs or maybe transform into his 4th transformation in order to gain strength at the cost of speed. Cooler and Frieza would be an awesome team together with Ginyu, so I really do see him making into the game at some point. Broly. Hands down one of the most anticipated and desired characters. Now there is some hate out there for Broly, but overall he is a super integral part to the series. Huge, powerful, and one of the few villains to instill fear in the entire DBZ cast. The legendary Super Saiyan can have so many different attacks, ranging from command grabs, unblockable charge punches, high damage, or even an Intimidate ability to reduce enemy attack power. The potential is unlimited for Broly, and I really am excited to see what they end up doing with him. I can easily see him getting into this game, and can't wait for him to be added. What the? Broly, wait, no! Android 19/20. Imagine how interesting gameplay-wise one of the energy-stealing androids would be. You could absorb super moves and ki blast projectiles like it was nothing. It would make a player have to rethink their usual approach and add a nice variety to the roster. Much like how Android 21 had her own unique mechanics in the game, I feel Dr. Gero or his creepy clown friend 19 would be adding a lot of flavor to the game. They could have grab moves that enable you to steal your opponent's meter, or maybe give you access to specific energy attacks that do a lot of damage, so it encourages you to have to get close and keep absorbing their energy. And I feel like this could be a really interesting way to approach the character. Master Roshi. We've seen him train Goku and Krillin, seal up the evil King Piccolo, but we could use Roshi even now in Dragon Ball Fighterz. I know I wasn't the only one excited to see Roshi make a huge return in Dragon Ball Super. If he can go toe-to-toe with powerful fighters from across the galaxy, then he can definitely make work of the fighters in this game with his most powerful Kamehameha wave yet. Deborah. Deborah was surely one of the more interesting characters of the Majin Saga, king of the demon realm itself. How much more evil can you get? Armed with his deadly sword and the ability to turn his allies into stone by spitting on them, it's clear that Deborah fits right into the roster. Deborah could be one of the few characters to have crazy long reach due to his sword attacks, and he would make a good rival for Adult Gohan as well as a decent teammate to the fat Majin Buu. All in all, I feel he would add to the already limited villain side of the game, so Deborah definitely would be a cool addition. Caulifla. As mentioned before, the female roster is very small. Any ladies we get in here would help out immensely. Fans want her, the game could use her, and her moveset could vary from the cast in a couple of ways. Most of the Saiyan males have a balanced playstyle. They all have like a beam projectile, decent movement speed, okay damage to high damage, and she could be the speedy exception. Kind of like how Teen Gohan is, where he's pretty quick and has stubby normals, but he does a lot of damage. They could do that same kind of approach with her. With her smaller stature, it's possible for her to get away with a lot of situations just based on her height. Much like Krillin and Gotenks, I foresee her being able to get around attacks with ease. It's possible KO could be used in conjunction attacks, or as an assist similar to how 17 works as well. It's pretty likely at least one of these girls will make it in, if not both, so definitely count on that. Dodoria / Zarbon. The two elite bodyguards to Frieza himself. I've always enjoyed these characters as they are featured in several forms of media surrounding Dragon Ball. We've seen them make it into a couple games, but they usually don't get fleshed out too well, and Zarbon typically is featured just with his transformation and a couple general attacks, and nothing that really sets him apart, even though he was in a good amount of the Namek Saga. While Dodoria is usually shown as a weak and foolish character, and debatably even much weaker than Zarbon, in reality, Dodoria does have his own attacks and could easily keep most of the Saiyans of the time in check. Nappa and Vegeta both had fear of Zarbon and Dodoria, and were only really feeling competent about fighting them after all of the events that took place on Earth. Even if Dodoria was on the weaker side, there are a lot of characters in this game from weak to strong, so he would still have a place and definitely have team synergy with Frieza or Cooler or Zarbon or whatever. I mean, he fits with a lot of people. You could even put him with just like Nappa and that works out still. I could see these characters making it in separate or together just because, you know, they are typically seen together as well. So having them fight side by side wouldn't be a crazy fact, just like how Ginyu turned out, where he's the entire Ginyu squad in one character. So it'd be interesting to see what they end up doing with that, but altogether I could see them both be individual characters and hold their own on the team. For the team synergy with Frieza alone, I would love to see these characters make it in. I'll leave it up to you to decide which is worth buying, but at this point I highly suggest holding your money back until you see what characters we do get. If it turns out we get base form Vegeta and Goku, like some of the leaks have been saying, then you'll be glad you held your money. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll have more Dragon Ball Z Fighterz content on the way, so please go ahead and like the video if you enjoyed it, or subscribe to the channel for more content. This is Demon Fox Yoko, signing out.